Why do women find older men attractive? The answer is pretty simple. It's because of what older men represent to women. Typically, older men represent stability, safety, reliability, chivalry, which are all things that women inherently look for in a partner. And this is great news for the men who typically date younger, and also the men who actually are younger. Because it doesn't take much to be more traditional and have good manners by doing things like opening the doors for her, or pulling out her chair for her, or even offering up your arm as you walk down the street together. Or to show that you're financially stable and can take care of yourself. Or even to just look the part by doing things like changing your hairstyle or even your clothing. Like I said, it's typically what older men represent that women find very attractive. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, feel free to save this video as a helpful reminder of why women find older men attractive.
Okay, I gave her points for stating why women, specifically young women, find older men attractive. But her message fell apart when this queen tried to say that younger men can be more attractive if they do the same things.
Ho, ho, ho! Fiction can be fun.
Nope, that's not true. If it was true, the young women wouldn't be dropping their thongs when Chad/Tyrone come around acting like the typical bad boy. Stop the cap there, sister. When referring to younger guys, ladies are not attracted to the same things. Let me put it this way. Younger women expect chivalry from older gentlemen because in their femme logic, chivalry comes with experience and maturity. Not to mention with older men, these younger women also believe other benefits will be included such as higher end vacations, fine dining, new experiences, mentorship, more experience in the bedroom, and overall better finances. And let's be honest, that is accurate most of the time. And her trying to convince young men that pulling out chairs will somehow magically even out the playing field, she's just setting you young bucks up for failure.
Damn!
Before we move on, I want to bring attention to the fact that 79% of my viewers are not subscribed to my channel. Come on, fam. You've seen my logo on other channels, and you're already here. Please hit that subscribe button and support the channel. It really helps out. Moving on.
If there's one thing I know about men, it's this. 9 times out of 10, before they are ready to commit to you, they're going to pull away. And this is something I literally always forget when I'm talking to somebody or when I'm dating somebody that this happens, but it is literally a biological, genetic, unconscious situation. And why I say it's biological and it's genetic is because if you go all the way back to caveman times, basically what ends up happening is a man needs to know that a woman is going to be able to survive without him. I'm not talking about hyper independence. I'm also not talking about being ghosted. I'm talking this should be about a day to a 3-day long situation. Anything more than that, and he's probably just not that interested in you. So why this happens or how it happens is probably something along the lines of he stops replying as quickly, maybe he stops asking as many questions, he's not asking you to hang out. And if everything has gone like pretty perfectly up until this point, then you just need to trust that this is a good thing. And why it's a good thing is because when they are in this pull away state, they're basically in contemplation mode. And it's probably unconscious. They don't even know that they're doing it. But right before a man commits to you, he needs to know that you're going to be okay without him in some sense. That he also gets some sense of independence, and that the relationship is going to be able to be maintained because both of you are able to handle a little bit of space.
You know, I really am not going to argue against what this queen is saying here. I'm not saying she's 100% on the money, but let's just say with the logic she is using, she is kind of stumbling into the right direction for a relationship. Kind of like when you want a toddler to go into the bedroom so you can change their clothes out, while at the same time, the toddler thinks they are going into the bedroom to get one of their toys. Yeah, about the same difference.
Same, but different. But still same.
Now to my female viewers, don't get me wrong, as I do agree with what she said. The point is, I don't actually think that is the primary reason men pull back before they want to enter a relationship. There could be other factors, such as they want to see if you can go a while without bugging the hell out of them. Or they could actually be very busy, which as a byproduct means they aren't going to be on your reply every 20 minutes. Or they may have some personal issues they're going to handle. Or they simply don't need to give you every free minute of their time, which will let them know if you are going to be some attention hog. But like I said already, just show them the shiny cool toy in the changing room and they will make their way there on their own own.
Show of hands for everybody who knew. Bingo.
So if you start to feel this happen, the best thing that you can do as a woman is just let him go through his process. Don't ask about it, mostly because he probably doesn't even know what's happening. And don't push for answers or get him to talk to you about it. Like, just let him go through his process, and 9 times out of 10, he's gonna come back and probably you'll end up in a relationship in the next couple of weeks. I just had this situation happen, and even I forgot that this is a natural process. Like, this happens all the time. And basically what ended up happening is the person that I'm talking to kind of pulled away. Like, his communication had been really, really great up until this point. And then I felt like, I wonder if this is the thing that's happening. And I'm not even kidding. He ended up texting me. We went back to our normal conversation. Everything kind of resumed. And then he came back and asked me a pretty important question. And it was just all of the confirmation that I needed and internally felt was probably happening to tell me that he was taking a little bit of space to evaluate. So don't freak out. Don't panic. This is totally normal. And most of the time, everything is perfectly fine. But if something feels really fishy or super off, trust that.
That was some good advice. Unfortunately, it fell on deaf ears. Asking a woman not to worry about something simple is like asking a sparrow not to fly. It's like asking a frog not to hop. It's like asking a womaness not to blame men for all of her problems. It's just not gonna happen. I mean, she even admitted to worrying about it even after being informed on how it works. Ladies, let me capitalize on her advice in my public service of the day. Your fee-fees are not the only factor most men consider when deciding to enter a serious relationship.
How dare you?
I know it's shocking to hear, but when a king is thinking about making you his queen, well, he has to think long and hard on how this is going to affect his kingdom. And your emotions are not the only thing he has to evaluate if he is a man of value. I mean, if he is well set up, he's going to want some important info like, what's your debt looking like? Or what happened to the last man who you were in a relationship with? Or do you have a criminal record? Or do you have a history of substance abuse? Or he may also want to know if your body count is higher than your IQ. Hey, girlfriend, a proper queen requires a proper background check in modern times.
Not fair!
You say that so often. Wonder what your basis for comparison is.
Moving on.
You asked and you shall receive. This is the spectrum of women deconstructing from patriarchy. And if you're a man, supportive comments only. If you don't have a supportive comment, I'm actually going to ask you to sit this one out and just consider this isn't your lane, yeah?
Okay, just like the men's, we're going to start at the women who believe that society is organized to reflect natural biological differences in men and women, and this is how it should be organized. All right, step 2 on this journey. Women recognize, okay, gender role differences maybe aren't biological, but it's just safer to comply. By this point, they have probably recognized their lack of safety within patriarchy in one way or another. They try to find safety by performing patriarchy, by dressing the right way, by surrounding themselves with the right men, by prioritizing the right things like having children or being married. The next step, she's going to recognize that compliance does not actually bring her safety, and or she recognizes that compliance is too high of a price to pay for safety. The next step, maybe she's pushing back against societal gender norms and roles, but she's probably still trying to seek safety and fulfillment via proximity to men. Usually this is going to be in form of romantic partners, perhaps having the children of her romantic partners, seeking her happiness in romantic relationships, but also just generally prioritizing the men in her lives, even maybe in the workplace. She's going to center them more than she's going to center women.
She's going to sink, Captain. She can't sink. She's unsinkable.
Gee, I wonder why this womanist queen doesn't want men to have a voice as she spews out her incredible timeline of logic. Maybe because her theory is being held together by chicken wire and BS. Let's start off by pointing out a few chinks in this queen's armor. Like, I don't know. The reason there are gender roles is not because of fifis or some wrong thing, but because this thing we call natural instincts and evolution that have proven throughout the millennia to be the best system which gives the human race the highest survivability rate. Listen, my oppressed but yet somehow empowered queen. There is a simple question you can ask yourself that will help shed light on some possible errors in this arrow diagram you are concocting. And that question is, can you womanists name one cultural example in all of human history that proves without a shadow of a doubt that your don't need no man rhetoric has led to a superior, long-lasting example that has survived the test of time?
Does not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute.
I'll save you the brain power. It does not and never has existed. Even today, with modern advances, women cannot survive without men. Something as basic as security is provided by men. Yes, the vast majority of the military, law enforcement, and criminal detention is overwhelmingly made up of men. Not you strong and empowered, I have a desk job with AC females. Do an experiment. Next time you need a cop, demand they send only women. See how that works out for you.
This one's often the hardest for her to see because she's been told her entire life that both her happiness and her safety is contingent on her proximity to men. So it's really hard to start questioning that. This next one is probably where the majority of my followers are right now, which is centering men, even the quote unquote good ones, which we know there's no such thing as good ones, but the ones that are considered good, maybe the ones deconstructing patriarchy, still takes more from her life than it gives. It brings her a more dull life. Perhaps a more frustrated life, a more worn out life, a more sick life. The next step is the actual decentering of men by taking apart each piece of her own self-assessment and removing it from the male gaze, getting to know herself outside of the male gaze, getting to know what she wants out of life outside of the male gaze.
She said it, not me. There are no good men. Gee, we can tell who is who. This queen is practically dripping with misandry. I have to ask there, queen, who hurt you? And as to the part of women decentralizing how she is viewed by men, dang, that is a rug muncher indoctrination 101. Let me go on a limb here and take a guess as to how the bulk of her followers look like. Let's say they have some masculine looking hairstyles with some neon coloring. They probably don't use a lot of feminine makeup. They dress like 12-year-old boys. They probably have enough hardware in their faces to set off an airport metal detector, and they probably are in or were in relationships with other women. Now, I may be completely wrong with my guess, but somehow I don't think I am. And those few followers she has who are in a relationship with male womenists, something tells me the bulk of those men don't look like Ryan Gosling.
The next phase, she's going to center community, and she commits to participating in the liberation of all, hopefully from an intersectional perspective. And this is where white women in particular need to be careful that when they get to this phase of centering community and trying to find and lean into matriarchal female leadership, that they do so with an intersectional lens. This is where she hopefully realizes she is the main character of her life, that she has something valuable to bring to the community, and she doesn't necessarily swear off romantic relationships with men or friendships with men, but her life is no longer oriented around that one thing, and I think that's going to make her relationships actually thrive, because they should have never been oriented around romantic relationships to begin with. I'm going to need a whole page for this next one. Witchcraft. Just kidding. But really, there is a return to living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with our cycles, and living in harmony with the cycles of the earth. Then we make Mother Earth the main character.
I have to ask in a serious note, has this crap ever worked out well for the majority of the women who have followed it in the long term? How many videos of Grand Elder Post-War Queens has this channel and other similar channels covered showing how sad, lonely, and miserable those queens end up looking for a good man after their egg count is a 0?
465!
Queen, the pitiful thing about all this is men already know how this story is going to unfold. It's going to end up with you trying to use every shaming tactic you can think of on the men you are attracted to, i.e. not your soy boy allies. And when it fails, you'll find yourself in an apartment full of heaps of cat litter and empty boxes of wine. You'll once again blame straight men for the consequences of your own choices. And of course, somehow, it's all the patriarchy's fault. Now, on the flip side, there are thousands upon thousands of Western men who thank you for your extremism, as it has motivated them to get their passports, head out to other more traditional countries, find a younger, hotter wife, and live happier than putting up with your harpy-infused black hole of a soul-destroying, male-despising mandates.
We decide our fates, not you.
I'm just saying, if you enjoy this audit, click on the video in the end screen for more content. If you would like to support the channel, please follow the link in the description to donate to our beer fund, or like, subscribe, and share this video on other social media platforms. If you agree or disagree with anything about this audit, please let us know in the comments. I'm going to leave this audit right here. I'll see all of you in the next episode.